Okay, real talk. I'm going to give you my strategy for running Instagram ads, Facebook ads, but the strategy that I use inside of that for getting a 60, 40, 30 ROAS. I will be completely honest, I'm not trying to not be. Those don't necessarily stick, and what I mean by that is they come down over time. But that's pretty amazing that with this strategy, like pretty much right when you implement it, you'll get some sales that will be very high ROAS. Assuming everything, everything, you can't, this doesn't work if you have a bad product or bad advertising, but assuming everything's good, the strategy works very well and will get you a very high ROAS. Will it stay there forever? No, but amazing that you can launch the ad, get some sales at a really high ROAS, and you can still continue to get sales at a really high ROAS, but I've just seen that with this strategy, the ROAS does tend to come down. Okay, so here it is. You've got to go to audiences, click create audience, custom audience, Instagram account, next. You're going to select the Instagram account from right here. Now, if it's a brand new Instagram account, then this probably isn't going to work because there needs to be some data already sitting inside of that Instagram account. Data meaning just people that have visited your profile, people that have left a comment, liked a post, sent you a DM, stuff like that. Because what we're gonna, so you're gonna select the Instagram account right there as the source, events. You're gonna choose everyone who engaged with your professional account. You're gonna retention max that out, 365. I'd also recommend maybe testing 2 or 3 of these where you have a tighter retention, a more recent retention. So maybe you want to go, again, this will depend on how much data you have on your Instagram account. If you have a lot, then you could go to like the last 7 days and create that an audience, and that could be pretty powerful. But that'll vary a little bit depending on how much data you have on your Instagram account. And it really just depends from account to account. Like I've seen some accounts with say, so basically we're going to populate this audience and it's going to tell you that it's going to tell you that it's not, that the size of it's not available, but there's a couple spots where it does actually kind of show you. And so I've seen like some accounts, 6,000, 10,000 followers, the audience that can be built using this method. It just varies. It just really depends from account to account. But I've seen 15,000 audience to a couple 100,000 size audience. So it does vary quite a bit, but just worth it to jump in here. And the whole idea behind this is that there's like, the people that have interacted with your Instagram account are likely a warm or even hot audience, meaning that they're already likely interested in you, whatever you're selling, that you're messaging, that sort of a thing. They're just not going to be super cold, right? And so the idea is that instead of having to target a bunch of cold audiences and try and get that to work for you, which you should also be doing, don't only use this strategy, but use this as one of your strategies. But this one should take some data that's sitting there that's not being used, that's really good warm data, and just start to put it to use for you. Like it's literally that simple. It's just a matter of telling Facebook to grab it and start to use it. And then there's a second step here that I'll show you once we set up this custom audience. So okay, so there's retention last 135 days. Now if you have any reason to exclude people here, I mean, it's not really worth it to include more at this point because you've already selected everyone who engaged with it. So every engagement of every kind within the last 365 it's going to include. But another thing that I would do is I would create this custom audience, and then I'd also come back in and I'd create a custom audience where it's anyone who's just visited your account's profile, and then that would be its own audience. So I'd create an audience for each one of these right here. Now when your ad set, when you're setting up your ad in this custom audiences section, this is where you'll select that custom audience that we just made. Now I didn't actually make it called fake name, but you would just click in here and then go to custom audience, and then you'd be able to grab one right out of here, which this IG everyone, okay, so this is where you can see it actually. So this IG everyone 3821 is exactly what I'm showing you right here, that custom audience. That's what I did right here with this IG everyone. I just did it on March 8th. Notice that right here in the audience definition, it says potential reach unavailable. But when we did have it, when we were hovering over it in here, like this, it shows us that it's 220,000. So that's pretty good, like a 220,000 size audience, just like off of really warm data sitting on your Instagram that was just sitting there and you weren't using it yet. Yes, that's what we want. And then this is where it gets extra powerful. Now that you've created the custom audience off of your IG, you want to create a lookalike off of it. And how you do that is you go right here, create audience, lookalike audience. And then right here, your lookalike source, so that fake name custom audience that we just created, you'd click here, you'd select that one as your lookalike source. And then for country, you'd probably most likely want to select United States unless you're working with a different country. And then you can create multiple lookalike audiences or just one at a time, however you want to do that. But click create audience, and then it'll create a lookalike audience of 2 million, 6 million, however many you choose, people that should also be a warmish audience for you. And whatever ad creative you've used that you've got conversions with when you targeted just your custom audience, just the fake name custom audience, then you can even just use that same ad creative, throw that to the lookalike audience, and maybe even exclude the IG people, so you're only reaching new people in that lookalike audience. And yeah, like I said, you should at that point just be reaching new people, but that are very closely related to the type of customer, the type of person that's most likely to buy what you're selling. And that's how I've been able to get 6, 8, 10, 40, 60 ROAS, is just off of that strategy. And then once you get some good ad sets locked in that are pulling in some sales at a good ROAS for you consistently, then that's when you obviously want to work on scaling. And I've got a video where I went over that, how to take your the ad sets that you found that work and just how to scale them, spend more money so you can make more profitable sales. When it comes to scaling, when you try to start to spend more money, it can be difficult because it's really kind of frustrating, but Facebook can kind of pick that up as scammy or whatever. But so you got to be careful. You can't just be necessarily spending, like $100 a day and just be like, all right, I'm going to spend $10,000 a day now, or be spending $5 a day and be like, all right, I'm spending $500 a day now. So once you have locked in targeting that works, targeting that converts, ads that convert, then you do want to start to spend more money, but you need to be a little bit careful about it. I like to see people be a bit aggressive, but do just be like a little bit careful here. And the way I think, so a couple different ways to scale, but kind of one of the main ways I like to do is if you've got an ad set that's working, just duplicate it, and in the duplicate, increase the daily budget. So that's one way to scale. And you can duplicate into a new campaign, you can duplicate into the same campaign. That's just more a question of how you want to organize things. But that's one way to increase how much you're spending, is just duplicate the ad set, increase the budget in the duplicate, and then click publish. And you can even, and then another way to do it, so that's called vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling is where you just create, say you're spending $20 a day on the ad set, just create 4 duplicates and don't change anything, just click publish, and now you'll have 5 ad sets spending $20 a day. So now you just scale to spending $100 a day. And I like that one a lot as well. Maybe I even use that one more often. But what I like to do is, if you do that, duplicate at least 3, because 1 or 2 out of the 3 will work and 1 or 2 won't. So don't expect just because 1 worked and you duplicated it 5 times, all those new 5 duplicates are just going to work perfectly. That's not the case. You always got to go and look at the data, see what's working and what's not. But the idea is that you duplicate 3, 1 or 2 work, and you just let those continue to run. And then also, duplicating into your lookalike audiences and then increasing budgets that way. And then also touched on a little bit earlier, but again, once you found some ad sets that are working, then I would even recommend just duplicating all of them into a new campaign and having that new campaign be a CBO campaign. So your budget is set at the campaign level instead of the ad set level now, but only on ad sets that have already been proven to convert and work and are duplicates of the original ones that worked. And then what I would say with that is, if you want each ad set to have $20 a day and you've got 5 ad sets in there, then I would say your campaign level budget should probably be $100, something like that. So kind of look at it that way. Oh, and then the other way you can scale and increase how much money you're making is finding better ad creative. So if you've already found audiences that are working, you've been running an ad to that audience, that's been working. Well, if you can come up with a better ad creative, you could see that that improves your ROAS, which we haven't really talked about, but that's your return on ad spend. That's how much you want. That's going to be a number that indicates, and I've got videos that talk about that more, so go check that out. But ROAS is basically going to tell you how much money you're making. And so just simply changing your ad creative, putting a better ad creative in there, could increase your ROAS quite a bit. Even just changing the headline on your ad could increase your ROAS quite a bit.